everybody, welcome to Nerds of a Certain Vintage. As always, I'm Patrick.
And I'm Andy.
And we are nerds who are here for our podcast proper for Sunday, January 21st. Alright, so we're doing Action January.
Yeah. Welcome to the third week of Action January, by the way.
And we started it with Beekeeper. And this week, we went and saw another movie. And did you actually finish watching the other thing?
No.
All right, so we won't bring that up.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the movie that we went and saw, an event movie at the Naro.
And the Naro is the nostalgic retro theater in our area.
Yeah.
It is
oftentimes an art house film.
Yeah. They show all kinds of older movies. They show a Rocky Horror Picture Show, and it's the old style theater that people our age remember from their youth. You know, with the fold down cushion chairs.
I'm going in for this.
Yeah. And the curtained walls, and it's just an old theater. It's cool because it has all of that atmosphere. So if you're going to go see the movie we saw, which was
Escape from New York,
then there's no better theater to go see it in.
Yeah, of course. And and they do these. So they'll have first run movies like they showed the Napoleon and those kinds of movies.
Yeah.
So that's what their main movies will be. The first run kind of artsy kind of movies, but still mainstream. The Naro doesn't normally, and this is what it sounds like we're doing an ad for the Naro, but the Naro doesn't normally serve liquor or alcohol. It just serves normal sodas and candy and popcorn and stuff. But on its event nights, they bring in this organization. That organization sells the beer and the wine. And all of the profits from that go towards
the seltzers. If you're into that, I'm not into seltzers.
Yeah. And $5 for a beer isn't bad. It's not bad.
No, $5 is fantastic for a beer, man. Yeah. Where else are you going to get a $5 beer at a theater or anywhere else?
And so it's dry January for me, so I had a lemonade.
I would have gone and gotten more beer, except I did not want to miss any of this fantastic movie.
You should have told me because I got up to go to the restroom.
Yeah, you got up, and I didn't. Now it didn't even occur to me to say, "Hey, grab me like 2 more beers."
So the other thing, the nice thing about the Naro is that for the event movies, the audience knows what they're getting into.
Yeah.
It's not like they're going for the shh, be quiet, nobody talk. So yeah, the people who come to these movies kind of expect for it to be a good time, and you talk back to the screen, and you mess around.
Make jokes.
They sell posters, handmade, bespoke posters for the
bespoke. That's the word.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's what we're talking about right there. Bespoke posters.
Yeah,
they fit you perfectly.
So they've got a guy who makes movie posters. He sells them before the movie starts. Then they come out and they do a little bit of trivia that it almost is like the guy's making it up on the spot.
Yeah. But he's entertaining enough. He knows his stuff. It was a ton of fun. I mean, there were some people came dressed up. There was a guy with the eye patch. And there was a dude when we first came in. He ended up sitting right behind us. But when he was up at the poster stand, we came in. I said, "Hey, Meatloaf is here."
Yeah. So, and he was well into this movie.
Yeah.
That guy who was behind us was like
he was like, "You cannot believe how many times I've seen this movie." He got there were 3 trivia questions. He knew the first 2, but they only let him win 1. Yeah. So
he only knew part of the
but that was as you say, it's like he makes it up on the spot. The guy that's doing the trivia stuff, he's like, "What is Snake Plissken's real name?" It's SD Snake Plissken or something.
Bob. SD Bob.
I was like, it's Warren.
I
had some vague memory that you hear his name, but apparently no, you don't really. You hear initials or something.
I think they said SD, but I didn't hear Bob in there.
No,
at all.
Yeah.
So you get if you win the trivia, you get a little goodie bag full of stuff. Then they start the movie and everybody's into it. And in this particular instance, the guy was like, "Well, we're selling beer." The thing that kind of cracks me up is that it was like the commercials on the screen beforehand. It was like a demand: consume alcohol, consume popcorn. Like, it was telling you, like, hey, come and enjoy our popcorn. No, you go and you drink, bitches.
You didn't get that? It was a John Carpenter film. They were doing a They Live
but I was just I was loving it. So the guy, when he's talking about it, didn't do it in his little spiel warm up. He says,
I got beer. My son bought popcorn, and I kept stealing his popcorn. I kept going and grabbing handfuls. And he was fine with it for like the first 4 handfuls, and then I could tell some tensions were rising. I was like, all right, that's gonna be my last handful. Well, maybe this will be my last handful.
It does sound like something.
Maybe this one will be my last handful.
Did I do that? So the guy, he's like, we need a drinking game. And so somebody yells out, drink every time Kurt Russell looks sexy.
Drink every time Kurt Russell is hot or something.
And he's like, no, you'll be dead. Like, you can't.
Exactly. So they came down on every time they say, I thought you were dead.
Which is a pretty good drinking game, actually.
Yeah, it's a fantastic drinking game. Like, if you did shots, you would end up doing about 6 shots.
Yeah.
Which is tolerable.
Reasonable.
Yeah. It's not alcohol
you'd still end up being drunk, but...
Yes. Yeah. You'd be feeling pretty good at the end of an hour and 40-minute movie or whatever this thing is.
And in this movie, like, every time someone would say that, everyone would be like, drink!
Well, and then there'd be frequently scenes where Kurt Russell would just be walking on the screen and this woman in the back would be like, drink! And we were like, can't argue with you there, man. He's looking good.
And my daughter and her friend at the end of the movie were like, we played the first drinking game and my soda was done.
I drank all of my soda. We were like, wait till you're 21, baby.
Yeah. So
you're only going to be allowed to play this drinking game at home when you're 21.
Yes, or at least call me. I will drive you home.
Yeah. Or at least call me before you start playing so I can sit in the back and make sure nobody tries to drive you home.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, they have... The movie itself is just ridiculous, of course. And
well, I was going to say, because there was a little interview thing that they had, almost like a special feature before the movie started. Mm-hmm. And I don't know who was interviewing who. I don't know who the guy was, who those 2 guys were. Maybe they're locals.
Okay.
But he talked about how this movie was billed as an action film.
Yeah.
But there's not really
a
tremendous amount of action. And he said the most action-packed thing is when Kurt Russell uses his machine gun to shoot a hole in the wall and breaks through. And as I'm watching it, I'm kind of looking at it from that view, and I'm like, no, there's actually quite a bit of action, but...
There's some chase scenes and,
Yeah, and there's some fighting and some various things, but he's very right that the thing about this movie that makes it fun is the atmosphere of it.
Right.
The world building of it. And I started to think, that's kind of the John Carpenter thing. Like, if you think about Halloween...
Ambiance.
Right. It's not a lot of violence in it. It's about building the tension. It's about creating the atmosphere, and it's all atmosphere. And then I started to go through the John Carpenter films and think...
Do we need to do a deep dive on John Carpenter at some point?
I would not mind that, in all honesty. But I was really like, that's the thing. I think that's a very underutilized element in modern movie making. People don't recognize how valuable it is just to sort of establish the world and live in it.
Yeah.
Not a lot necessarily needs to happen if it's an interesting enough world.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's super cool, man.
Yeah, there were characters in this film that, like, I'd kind of like to hear the backstory of some of these films.
Well, it's funny you say that. I was thinking this today. I was thinking they did Escape from Los Angeles.
Of course.
Which was kind of goofy. But I thought you should do Escape from New York Part 2, the series, and it should be a Game of Thrones style show in that same world after the Duke has been killed. Like, they're still all in that prison, but he was the king of New York. He was a number 1. There's a power vacuum now. What happens, man? Those guys are going to eat each other. I
get the feeling that some of those people were already eating each other.
Well, those guys that crawled up out of the sewer, they're the sewer cannibals. Yeah.
She even said it. She's like, they ran out of food. It's the 16th of the month.
Yeah. But there's way too many of them. You know that any cannibal culture is eventually going to start eating each other depending on the situation. And I don't know who the fuck is growing food there.
It almost seemed like they got food drops.
They would have to drop food.
Yeah, because there's no farmers.
I know. Those farmers are the first ones to get eaten.
Of course. Right? Yeah. or they're the most secure.
Well, no, but these are the things to explore in Escape from New York, the series.
Yeah, you got the people who are growing pot. In, like,
you got the people who are farming humans like they did in The Walking Dead, right? Yeah, I assume anybody who gets dropped into the prison who's like new fish and is like weak, well, they become cattle. You know, you're like, here, have a bunch of carbohydrates. I'm going to fatten you up so that we can kill you and eat you. And like, but in all honesty, I imagine that like the rat restaurant business is booming in Escape from New York.
Absolutely. Yeah. What else would you put in your rat hole?
Rat on a stick. Oh.
What else would you put in your rat hole?
Hey, go down to 36. They have the best rat on a stick.
Man. I hear it's at 68.
I'm not sure where they get their seasonings from. Yeah. I think they're just flaking it off the sides of buildings, but it's fantastic.
I think it's Soylent Green.
No, but that would be the thing. It is Soylent Green, but nobody gives a crap. You know, they're just like, it's delicious. Yeah. You know?
No, I wouldn't mind living in this world for a little while.
Yeah.
There were some scenes here that were like pretty like. Just, you know, seeing the Twin Towers and a plane flying at them. Yeah. It's just like, you could hear in the audience. Yeah. Like that,
Pat was like, too soon. And I was like, that's good. That is pretty good, actually, yeah. You didn't say it loud enough so that anybody heard you, but we weren't big sharers. We were like just like joking amongst ourselves. But,
well, that's what this podcast is. We're just joking for each other.
Yeah. I was more than happy to yell drink when the obvious drink things came in.
Yes.
Along with the crowd. But.
When he was super sexy.
Showing
off the tattoo.
When he's like just walking away from his glider and that woman in the back is like, drink! And I'm like, yes, drink! Hell yeah!
I thought he was dead too! So yeah, I don't know. Like, do we have to go through?
He's dead sexy.
I mean, the idea of this movie is really so stupid, but it's like so simple as well. Like the president, the world has gone to hell, and New York, like Manhattan, has just been blocked off.
So there's a little montage at the beginning that says the crime rate increases 400%.
I have trivia about this, but
so they wall off all of the island of Manhattan.
Yep,
and they just make it a giant prison, and so they just drop criminals in there, and they're there for life. You don't get out. And it's like giant Alcatraz. Like there's a scene in the beginning where some guys are trying to escape on a raft, and this helicopter just blows them out of the water. Yeah. Guy got a big laugh from the crowd.
So I brought up the trivia, the IMDb trivia. The opening narration and the computer's voice in the first prison scene were provided by an uncredited Jamie Lee Curtis.
Really?
According to IMDb.
I'm going to have to listen to that again. I thought it was a dude. Oh, no. You're talking about the thing that explains that the crime rate has risen 400% and all this stuff, right? Yeah. Yep. It probably was.
Yep. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot in here. Like, there's a lot. Where do you think this was actually filmed?
Well, the folks at this particular movie said they filmed a lot of it in actually New York, and they didn't change anything. But I don't know.
That's not true.
Okay.
The film's setting proved to be a potential problem for John Carpenter, who needed to create a decaying, semi-destroyed version of New York City on only $6 million budget. He and production designer Joe Alves rejected shooting on location in New York City because it would be too hard to make it look like a destroyed city.
Things have changed.
Carpenter suggested shooting on a movie backlot, but Alves nixed that idea because the texture of a real street is not like a backlot. They sent Barry Bernardi, their location manager and associate producer, on a sort of all-expenses-paid trip across the country looking for the worst city in America.
I'm thinking Detroit.
Bernardi suggested St. Louis, Missouri.
Oh my goodness.
Because it was filled with old buildings that exist in New York City now and have that seedy, rundown quality that the team was looking for.
Oh, fantastic. I wish I'd known that last night when they were like talking that shit. I'd be like, no, it's St.
Louis. Yeah, so I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Everybody was talking shit about New York.
Right. So quick breakdown of the movie. Manhattan is a walled-off island prison. Some socialist revolutionaries somehow hijacked Air Force One and crash it in the city.
Yes.
And it's right before a big summit with Russia and China.
Yeah.
The president is taken prisoner by the inhabitants of the prison, and the people who are in charge of the prison are desperate to get him out before the summit starts. Apparently they have some kind of a tape that's got fusion science on it.
Yeah.
Fusion energy science they're going to share with the world to make peace with China and Russia. So they decide...
Snake just wants to watch the world burn.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't... He's pretty anarchist as far as it goes. So the head of the prison, there's a new inmate, Snake Plissken, and he's got military service background, and he's a badass, and everybody thinks he's dead, so they send him in.
He's really well known.
Yeah.
Like everybody in that prison knows him.
Not just like by name, by face. Like they see him, they're like, "Hey, I know
Snake.
you." Yeah, you were all over the media.
Yeah.
When you flew a glider over Leningrad or some shit. That was not. They asked what he was famous for, and that was one of the things. But no, he got imprisoned for something entirely different.
He did a bank job. He robbed a bank.
Yeah, because of Harold. Harold screwed him, right?
Yeah. Don't you mean Brain?
Harold is Harry Dean Stanton. In all honesty, you look at this movie, and the cast list is stellar.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a fantastic group of people. Isaac Hayes, Kurt Russell, Harry Dean Stanton,
Lee Van Cleef, Donald Pleasence, Isaac Hayes, Adrian Barbeau,
Ernest Borgnine,
Charles Cipher.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
I don't know either.
And Atkins, who is
Tom Atkins.
Tom Atkins, who you wouldn't know the name, but you'll recognize him when you see him. In the 80s, he was all over the film.
Oh, don't forget Susan Hubley.
Oh, that was Kurt Russell's wife at the time. She's the woman in the coffee shop, the chock full of nuts, who gets dragged through the floor by the sewer cannibals.
Yes.
So he threw that out as a trivia, but everybody knows that. That's well known trivia.
Sure.
You didn't know it?
It's not like I was. Listen, this movie came out when I was 9.
I was about to increase your nerd card cred, but no.
Because I didn't know chock full of nuts?
No, because you didn't know who that woman was in that movie.
No.
So it's so well known. It's like you've never seen Blazing Saddles.
Call me Snake.
Call me Snake. The name's Pliskin.
So
very quotable movie.
So the president gets captured, and they send Snake in with the promise of full pardon, but you only have 24 hours, which turns into 23 hours.
Yeah.
Which is 22 before these bombs blow up.
They suicide squad him.
Yeah.
They put explosive charges in his arteries, and they're just like the protective coating is going to dissolve in 23 hours, and then they will just pop, and not very strong, but they will blow your arteries out.
They'll blow your artery, and you dead Snake.
Did your vibrator just go off?
No.
Okay.
No, it did not.
Yeah, it must have been mine.
Boing.
In all honesty, I had seen this movie. I watched it here at home. I've got the video. I watched it myself about 6 months ago.
Really?
Yeah. And I had watched it a few years ago, and I was kind of disappointed. This isn't as good as I remembered. And then 6 months ago, for whatever reason, I watched it. And I was like, this is fucking hidden.
Yeah, you had that 10.5% alcohol.
No, it wasn't. Well, did I have 10.5% alcohol? It does sound like something I would do.
You get to see Adrian Barbeau in all of her glory.
No, I didn't. But maybe.
So, you get to see the wrestling ring.
Well, let's have a moment about Adrian Barbeau. I mean, she was at the height. Literally, this is where she's at the height of her power.
If this movie had come out 4 years later, she would have had a topless scene in it. It's this is right at the time when you're not pulling that kind of stuff.
I'm glad they didn't do that. She had a dress on that was reasonably conservative, but still showed how curvaceous she is.
Right,
and
it's what you would wear in the kind of hellscape that you're.
Yeah.
It's functional, but it's not entirely
covering up. Yeah. And when she went down at the end, there's a guy in the crowd and said, Pour one out for those titties. And you know what? I know how gross that is, but it was fucking funny as shit. So
there's actually a bit of trivia about that.
All right, can't wait.
Let me see. I've got to pull it up.
I can't wait. I love some trivia. I'm not good at trivia, but I love it.
Yeah, where is it? Adrian
Barbeau.
Yeah. The shot of Maggie's corpse under the Duke's car was added after principal photography was done in John Carpenter, as John Carpenter felt the audience wouldn't get it that she had been killed by the impact. I don't know about you, but I would have
No, I agree with him because in the moment, as quick as it is, I couldn't tell that he actually hit her or not.
Oh, he squished her good.
Yeah. It wasn't the camera angle wasn't particularly good at that spot. So I think that was worth doing.
You were blinded by the chandeliers.
You could have been right about that.
Carpenter and Adrian Barbeau filmed the shot in their garage with her under their own car. During a 2011 interview with Terry Gross on her national public radio program Fresh Air, J.J. Abrams said that as a teenager, he was the one who had first suggested to Carpenter that Maggie's death was unclear. Abrams, whose father was a movie producer, got to see an early rough cut of the movie, and when Carpenter asked the small screening audience for notes or suggestions, the then 15-year-old Abrams told him there needed to be an extra shot of Maggie that established that she was definitely dead.
Yeah.
So J.J. Abrams taking credit for everything, man.
I still don't like him. Sorry. He did. That was a good call. That doesn't make him a good movie maker or a good writer, for God's sake.
Well,
Jesus Christ. He was like, you need an extra scene of Maggie getting killed because I saw it in this other thing, and we need to copy that.
So Adrienne Barbeau, she is a sexy woman. She's gorgeous. She's
well, for the time, yeah.
Yes, I mean she's the catalyst for many awakenings.
Here's the thing, I can't even believe you said that. I'm gonna need a second. Hold on.
Sure.
Let me just collect myself here. Boing, boing, boing. The thing about her that shocks me too is especially from Small Thing is I never appreciated how tiny she is. She's not a very tall woman, and you get the impression Harry Dean Stanton and these other characters are not little guys, but and I think in this movie she was wearing substantial shoes to kind of keep her in frame and stuff. But
maybe I'm trying to see.
I feel like she's 5'2".
Let's see, 5'2".
Yep.
Yeah.
Don't have a wild guess there, but I feel like she's 5'2". Yeah. So she's not. She's once again small. Most of these movies are people with small actors and stuff.
Yes.
Although. Kurt Russell, not a small actor. I love this scene.
Isaac Hayes is not a small actor.
No. Well, but they were never in scene together. Really.
Yeah.
In that he was always backlit to them. So, Isaac Hayes is great in this, man. He has all the gravitas you need to be the king of New York. But in Tango and Cash, when he's walking next to I'm going to bring this up. I'm going to bring it up every time. Sylvester Stallone. You can if you watch the lower part of the screen when they're walking. He's got fucking I don't know what the hell he's wearing.
He's some lifts.
He's wearing apple crates. He's got apple crates on his feet so that he could be as tall as Kurt Russell.
I gotta tell you that they should have been able to get out. Somebody should have been able to get out using that glider, because if you're on the top of the World Trade Center and you just push that thing over, it's going to catch some air.
Yeah, but how many people know how to fly a glider? Do you know how to fly a glider?
Sure. Yeah.
Are you going to just tilt? Yeah. Are you just going to tilt this thing off the side of a building?
What do you as opposed to the alternative to stay in this urban hellscape?
It depends on how many times a day I'm getting raped. Yes, I mean, absolutely. I might take the chance, but but I don't know. And that was hysterical. With who was it that tilted it all? It was the Redskins.
Yes.
Apparently, but this is why I feel like a TV show that is like a Game of Thrones battle for who's the new king of New York is because clearly there are factions.
Yeah.
You know? And when I'm watching this movie, I'm like, I even said when we were leaving, they should have done a Warriors Escape from New York double feature. Yeah. So you would figure there's a certain aspect of gangs that when they wall up the city, they're like, fuck it, I'm not leaving.
Yeah, why
this is my city. Like I rule the city, of course. And then the Duke shows up and like has sex with you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Well, he's Isaac Hayes. Come on.
It is Isaac Hayes.
What are you gonna do?
Oh man,
drink.
Charismatic.
Drink.
Yeah. Now I don't know that I find him sexy, but charismatic as hell. Yeah.
So there's some ridiculous things in this movie. I will tell you.
I think it's so funny if you look at those movies then and how now like they get Kurt Russell like with his shirt off before he goes into the wrestling ring, and I'm like, he is not like
he's not that
he's in okay shape, but he's like 3 6-packs from a dad bod, you know what I mean? Yeah. And if you've ever watched Blade Runner, if you go back and watch Blade Runner when
Harrison Ford.
No, not Harrison Ford, but Roy Batty.
Yeah.
Rutger Hauer.
Yeah.
Because I'm getting a costume together for GalaxyCon, Roy Batty, and I'm just like, I gotta get chubbier to be Roy Batty. I don't, So
this whole thing is fine because like back in the day we could have action stars who were, Bruce Willis. And
more realistic, in all honesty.
Yeah, exactly.
Like people like that who are as jacked as a lot of these
Schwarzenegger.
Well, I'm gonna give it to what's his name in Silent Night because his son got killed and he
got all jacked.
He started working out so that he could be like in fine shape because there's that Batman pressure, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. You gotta put that energy somewhere.
Yeah, I know. Well, no, you're like, look at Batman. If Batman can do it, I gotta get in Batman shape. I'm gonna get in Batman shape. Apparently, I have to flip over like monster truck tires and shit.
Yeah, well,
damn,
you get those big chains.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna be hanging in chains.
No, going in for another beer after that 10.5.
We bought some new cool beers as in there, Total Wines. But they were not cold. And I wasn't about to show up here with you with a slightly below room temperature beer. I wasn't going to do it. I wasn't going to do it. No, I felt like you would have noticed from across the room. You're like, there's no cold in this room. Yes. That is a room temperature beer you're having.
Yes. I can tell.
Son of a bitch.
I smell hypocrisy.
And in that instance, you would have been right.
Yeah, of course. I mean, the entirety of this story is just Kurt Russell, Snake Plissken, trying to find the president and take him out
and get the bombs out of
his own. Like, yeah, this is his own protection. Like, he just wants to save himself. He doesn't care about the president. Or
the country, or the world.
Yeah, he doesn't want any of that. Like I get the feeling that he would have been perfectly fine going in and living in New York, and he would have ended up running a faction, and
You know what? That's an aspect I had not really considered.
Yeah, if none of this had happened,
he would have just
been in there
before the sewer cannibals pop up. He just knocks over a chair and has a seat, and he's just hanging out. You know, maybe this is. But here's the thing: what always sort of hits me while I'm watching this movie is, there's that scene where he goes into the theater and those two guys are attacking that woman, right? Yeah, and I'm just like, how many women are there here? This is probably a total helmet fest. It was probably of course 95% dudes. How often do they drop a chick into this hellhole? Yeah, and that chick would have to be a pretty big badass. She'd have to be. But once again, that's what the series would examine. Yeah, you have a couple of when they find their own faction, they band together. Yeah. Every one of them. One city block. Yeah, every one of them carries a razor blade in their mouth just in case. You try to force some oral sex on them. Yeah. Oh, they replace a couple of teeth. Yeah, exactly. That's what they do. Yeah. I just, it's rape. it's ripe for some television right there.
Yes, I think we've written a better.
It's gonna have to be fairly graphic for if
it's HBO, of course.
If I'm going to enjoy it,
it's HBO. So
no, it's going to be on Peacock without question.
Yeah, with commercials.
Why not?
So yeah, they've got Snake, and he really just wants to save his own skin. But in the meantime, he's running into everybody who knows him. Like, it's old folks' home. Like, he's seeing Ernest Borgnine, who thought he was dead. He's meeting Brain, who thought he was dead.
I feel like the shit that he got into got on the news, and that's why everybody knows him. Because Ernest Borgnine appears to be a guy who was not a criminal. He just refused to leave the city. Like, he loved the city, and when they walled it off, he's like, I've been driving this cab for 30 years. I'm not just leaving my town, my home.
Well, maybe.
And you would, and I buy that. There's a certain aspect of people.
So how are they getting their news then?
No. Well, you're right, I guess. No. The fact that he'd been there 30 years doesn't mean that the city'd been walled off for 30 years, right? When did 1988?
It happened in 88, and this was 97, so 11 years.
Right.
You're saying that Snake Plissken...
9 years, right? 88 to 97?
I thought it was 88. Yeah, so 9 years. So, in that time, Snake Plissken... He must have done all of his shenanigans before 88, is what you're saying.
Potentially. You know what? I'm gonna have to watch...
So what was he doing in between the 9 years?
I'm watching that movie again tonight, baby. I gotta get the math right. I gotta get the dates right.
I need a Snake Plissken prequel bank heist movie.
It's the movie we deserve.
I would totally.
It's the mashup we deserve. We need to, yeah.
We get his.
We need to see how Brain betrays him.
Yeah, we get Kurt's son to play young Snake Plissken.
There were scenes in their movie where Bat's like going, "Oh, he looks just like his son."
Oh man, I need something to drink so bad.
And all I have is aloe vera. Did you only drink 2 drinks?
I had my other. I had this.
You only brought the 2 of them.
Yeah. Those were the only things.
All right. Well, enjoy some chunkiness. Chunkiness. My dog's name is Chunky. I can see the chunks.
You shouldn't have to chew your drinks.
I know. Chewing your drinks is wrong.
Maybe I should do a Google search just to make sure that I'm supposed to have a chunky drink.
I think you are. Don't worry. You'll enjoy it later when you're pooping.
Ingredients: water, aloe vera, juice and pulp.
Yep.
Sugar, citric acid, natural mango flavor. And then we get into all the weird ones. Calcium lactate, sodium citrate, sodium benzoate. Yeah. Gellum gum.
I think we've established where those chunks are.
Oh, beta carotene.
No, it's aloe vera pulp.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. They said that it's only mango flavor. Essentially, you get the mango chemical.
I get, yes.
Meanwhile,
flavored.
What's in my beer? Hold on a second. Let me take a look.
It's beer and water.
It says beer. Okay. Good to go.
All right. So yes, during this adventure, he runs into various characters. Brain and
Sweet
Maggie.
Sweet Maggie.
Yes. Chock full of nuts girl.
Well, he starts with Chock full of nuts girl, who is his wife. She asked for a cigarette while he's hiding out from the sewer cannibals.
Yeah, he brought the good cigarettes in.
And then he tracks. So he's got a tracker for the president. He tracks it to a Broadway playhouse, right? And he goes in there, and that's where he meets Cabby, who's Ernest Borgnine, and they're having this fantastic show. With these dudes dancing and singing and various things, and everybody's kind of
you all have to have culture.
Yeah, exactly. There's got to be
entertainment.
Yeah. These guys are not getting raped every day. There's no way.
Well,
they're talented. That's what I'm saying. They got a pimp who's like, this would be explored in my television series.
Sure, of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because the pimp would be like
TM.
Yeah. You have to have those enforcers. You have to have the entertainment industry, right? And
it's growing on me.
Yeah. I don't believe that it is. I do not believe that it is. Well, man, we're right on time.
Yeah.
So he goes in the play. He tracks the president tracker downstairs.
Yeah.
That's where the one scene where the woman is being attacked by these two dudes, and then further down there's a dude in a suit with the tracker on, and he's just getting punched in the head. Like
he was into it.
Yeah, you get the impression that that was what this was not like abuse.
No.
This was his thing.
Yeah.
And but Snake kicks his ass aside, and then it's some bum, and he's like, "Where did you get this?" He's like, "Well, I knew I'd be the president when I got this." That guy deserves an Oscar for that shit. That was a fantastic performance.
Yes, he got an Oscar. So yeah, this is it's fantastic to see this as well, because this is a movie that would have been made in like 80 for release in 81.
81, right.
And
I made the mistake of suggesting to my wife that it came out in the late 80s, and of course she had to prove me wrong.
No. Yeah. Unless you consider 81 late in the 80s.
I do not, but she was just like, "No, there's no way that came out in like 88." And I was like, I don't know. I don't really care, you know.
Well, they were predicting 16 years in the future, the far future of 1997. And the technology that they were predicting was the most ridiculous, like, you know,
every
huge
time
chunky bracelets and like
there's a scene where the head of the prison, Lee Van Cleef, like he's talking to like his inferiors. And they're just like, you know, you got to call like the government, and he pulls out this giant ass like phone. I don't know what this hell this thing was.
It was like one of those like the phones from MASH. They pull out of the big case and they have to.
It was the size of his arm, and he pulls it out. The whole crowd broke up laughing.
Like 1997, I had a cell phone.
You guys got the technology so wrong. So, but once again, multiverses. You know, this is a multiverse.
Yep.
I love that. You know what? I think this needs to be a thing for the show. You need to drink those every week.
I can't do it.
No. It is so hysterical. Look, as much as he has drank, it's right there. Like he's drank that much.
That's mostly pulp.
Well, on the plus side, nothing could survive in there.
It's the drink you can blow bubbles with.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's the aloe vera of champions.
So, all right. So, so there's some set pieces. There's the wrestling scene.
I was going to say that like he goes in the Broadway place. That's where he meets Cabby, which is Ernest Borgnine.
Right.
Who is the first one that recognizes him.
Right. Who then takes him to Brain.
And Maggie.
Yes, who live in the what is it? The library?
The library.
Yeah. With a oil rig.
Yeah. Apparently, there's oil under the the New York Library. Who knew?
Who knew?
I'm not that surprised, really.
I'm still not sure how they refine it. Like you don't pull out gas.
Well, what I think is
what is it? Natural gas that they're pumping out of there?
Who knows? But maybe all the garbage that's been put under there is methane. You know?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, here's the thing: you can make diesel fuel out of plastic, and how much plastic is there probably laying around destroyed New York? Like if you mean
St. Louis?
St. Louis. If he had a still, he could just be like harvesting plastic, and he'd be the one making diesel fuel for them. So
sure,
they could still have all that shit.
Yeah.
But once again, the science was not.
No, of course not. It was 1981.
Yeah.
Who cared? They're.
You know what? If George Lucas had made that, they would have done reshoots.
Of course, they would. Yes.
20 years later, they would have fixed that. Yeah.
He would have figured it out. He would have created a.
Jar Jar Binks and all those guys. They would have figured out that there was diesel fuel and all that plastic.
The midichlorians. This is where he he finds out that they had originally had an escape plan to go over the, what was it, the East Bridge? Or, like, I can't remember.
I thought it was the 86th Street Bridge or something. I don't know. I'm not a New Yorker. Forgive me. Yeah. I feel terrible.
One of the bridges. But when they created this as a prison, they mined all the bridges and tunnels.
Right.
So you can't just get out. And so...
Brain's got a map.
Brain's got a map.
One guy got all the way to the end.
Before he got shot.
Which begs the question.
What do you get?
No. If he's the guy who got to the end with the map and got shot at the end, how did anybody get the map? It's at the end of the bridge. How are you going to get there? You're going to go over the bridge that you don't know how to go over.
Yeah, well, Brain had it wrong anyways.
Yeah,
you gotta go left.
Clearly.
Yeah, you got blown the fuck up.
How did that map come back? I think that map is suspicious, motherfucker.
It is. I think he was trying to he was trying to set up Duke.
That's one of them. Their deep state maps.
He was trying to set up Duke. He was like, "Oh, Duke, I got the map."
Yeah. You got it.
Don't think too hard about where it came from.
Pay you big money. Give me a hot, like Adrian Barbeau type, and I'll give you this map.
Yeah. Plus, I'll get all of the gas that you need to get across in your huge car. So yeah, but
I always go back to that. What is that Ralph Macchio movie? Crossroads.
I don't know this.
You never watch Crossroads?
No.
It's a great flick. Just for the guitar battle between Ralph Macchio and the Devil's guitarist, who is Stephen Vai.
Okay.
It's a great scene, but he breaks a blues guitarist out of a retirement home so that he can take him down south to the Crossroads so he can find the last song of Robert Johnson, the legendary song that Robert Johnson recorded that was never found again. Mm-hmm. And so he when he finds this blues guy in his nursing home, he's in a wheelchair, but he can walk. Mm-hmm. And he's like, when he finds out he can walk, he's like, "Why are you walking? Why are you in a wheelchair if you can walk?" He's like, "Man ain't no man, ain't got no wheels." And I just thought, like, that is the best line, you know. So when I see Isaac Hayes in that Cadillac with the freaking chandeliers on it, I'm just like
hanging chandeliers.
I'm like, "A man ain't no man, ain't got no wheels."
That's right.
And I'm just like, that's fantastic.
So I would have just loved to have been the production meetings where they're like, "Yeah, we got this character Duke who's going to be the king of New York. We need him to be able to have a car. What can we do to make his car stand out?"
Well,
we're putting chandeliers on that bitch.
I feel
Boss Hog ain't got shit on us.
Yeah, well, you said that in the movie. You're like, "That's some Boss Hog shit right there." And I was like, "You're not wrong. Yeah. You're not wrong." You should have said that louder. I think you might have actually gotten a laugh. The problem is if you say it louder and you don't get a laugh,
then
you're just like, "Oh, man."
That guy behind us said some things, and I'm like, you're trying too hard, man.
Yeah, I agree. But he got enough laughs that it was working okay. He's going back in for some chunks. Oh, delicious chunks.
I wonder if it would be better if I just let him go. Like,
swallow it down? I think so.
Yeah, like just straight up.
Don't try to chew your drink, man. That's never a good idea.
Yeah, it's like you don't try to chew an oyster, right? You just like let it go.
No,
straight down the gullet.
Yeah. No, I mean like a cooked or canned oyster, you chew it. But no. Yeah.
So yes, but Brain and Adrian Barbeau, they know where the president is, and so they say that they're going to take Snake to get the president. And of course,
we don't have to go by this beat by beat. This is a 50-year-old movie?
No,
60?
40.
70?
43 almost.
Yeah. In all honesty, your daughter and her friend came to this movie. My oldest son came to this movie. None of them had seen this movie before.
My son and his friends hadn't seen it either.
I know. They were not necessarily as impressed, but they're of that age. Yeah, they're like nothing necessarily is going to impress them, but
yeah. I mean, listen, my guess is that if I'd shown this movie is like it rides that balance of being like serious enough that it's not ridiculous and over the top,
right?
But like as he said, it's the ambiance of it that you enjoy. A lot of the
absurdity is based on the passage of time. When it was made, you know, in 81, and saying in 88 this would happen, and then in 97 this would happen. That was the future, right?
And that was close enough that people were going to see those years.
Yeah.
Like it's not like the year 3000.
Right.
No, they're saying like 16 years from now, New York's going to be a prison.
Yeah. And it's not like that's not like the Terminator.
Yeah.
The end of the world happened like a while ago from the Terminator movies. I understand that anytime you do like this Future Quest thing, but
it's better if you don't chew on it.
I love that so much. I think that's so fantastic. For dry January, you should only drink aloe vera, like different flavored things.
Watch me. I'm going to get addicted to these things.
Is there an aloe vera apple?
I don't think so.
Aloe vera peach?
No, I think I was just a mango. There's 2 servings in this thing. I think I've had about a half of a serving so far.
Wow.
I can't do it. I'm sorry. I can't.
You're done.
I'm done.
Well, we've hit an hour, right?
Almost. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're coming up to the end. This is one of the reasons that I think my daughter and her friend like it is because Kurt Russell is a sexy man in this movie.
Yeah.
Like he's got all the attitude you want.
Well, it's funny. It's funny because I think this was one of the movies, and we should probably do like a Kurt Russell deep dive. Let's do that next week.
Sure.
So we really can get into it. But he was a Disney kid. You know, he was the computer that wore tennis shoes. He was the world's strongest man. He had all of these movies, and I feel like this was the movie where he attempted to reinvent himself as an action star, as a badass, and it was done beautifully. And people,
according to the trivia, he fought for this role because he was trying to shake off his Disney child star persona.
Exactly. And I got that. Even at the time when it came out, I got that.
Yeah.
Because I had watched those movies. This is what you get from the nerds of a certain vintage. We remember those movies that a lot of people don't. Those old flicks.
Yeah.
And I recognize that this was his attempt to reinvent himself. Yeah. And it worked beautifully.
Beautiful. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so
that hair didn't hurt.
Well, the fact that he's a good-looking guy, I think he may have fought for the eye patch because that's a huge disadvantage in any kind of a military operation. Yeah. Hey, I can't see.
My depth perception isn't good.
I can't see to the left of me. I don't know what's going on over there to the left. Anybody can sneak up on me. That giant the guy in the wrestling match in the wrestling ring with the nailed bats.
Yes.
I got to keep him always on the right. I got to keep him on the right because otherwise I'm fucked. My enjoyment of a dad bod.
The president's downed plane was an old Convair 580 bought from an airplane graveyard in Tucson, Arizona. The plane was carved up into 3 separate pieces and trucked into the film's St. Louis locations in the dead of night as they didn't have the requisite paperwork.
I love it. Man, this is some...
You can't make these kinds of movies anymore.
Fucking filmmaking,
you can't do it anymore.
That makes this movie even better. Damn. Go right out and watch it if you haven't.
Oh, man.
Anyway.
The model of the city was repainted and reused for Blade Runner.
I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, that makes it even better.
Let me see what else we got.
Man, St. Louis had nothing going on. Yeah. They're like, just please, trash our city and turn it into movie studios, right?
That's right.
Movie scenes.
The manhole covers in the film were all made of wood. Real ones would have been far too heavy for the actors.
Yeah.
Bunch of pussies.
Well, word didn't seem like they looked heavy enough.
John Carpenter and his crew convinced St. Louis authorities to shut off the electricity for 10 blocks at night.
Wow.
Can you imagine? The poor sap who's working late being like, what the fuck's going on outside?
No, I mean, I'm sure they notified everybody, but man, it really paid off for them, right? Yeah. Except the fact that nobody knows it was fucking St. Louis. Yeah, exactly. That's if that dude had said, where was this film? People would have been like, oh, it's New York. No, it's St. Louis, man. Like, who would know that?
When it came to shooting in New York City, John Carpenter managed to persuade federal officials to grant access to Liberty Island.
You know what? Who would know that? The dude that ran the trivia thing, if he'd done like 5 seconds of research. So disappointing.
Let's see.
You know what? We need to get more active in our community.
Yes. Yeah, some of this is really long.
No, it's time to wrap it up, man.
The film's budget of $7 million was the largest that John Carpenter.
I will say this: I'm more than happy to hang out here and drink with you longer. But
I just wanted to go over a couple of different things. Like, how much money do you think this made worldwide in its release?
Well, how much was the budget?
$7 million.
I'm going to say $35 million.
$25 million.
Okay.
Worldwide. It made $30,000 internationally.
It made
That's all it said. $30,000 internationally.
So it made all its money.
All its money in America. Yes. Okay. Yes. And the international stuff was from a 2021 re-release. So that was.
So if we went overseas, nobody would know this movie.
I don't know.
I would be like, if we went to England and we were like, "Have you seen Escape from New York?" and they're like, "What is that?" Yeah. I would be like, "What the fuck is going on here? Like, you don't know this movie?"
Maybe not. I
don't know.
So
I'm not buying that.
What do you think the tomatometer is?
That's fake news, man. I don't.
What do you think the tomatometer is for Escape from New York?
So we're going critics and fans?
Critics and audience score, yeah.
Audience score is like 85. Critics score is like 30.
Wow. Audience score, 77.
Okay.
Critics, tomatometer, 88.
Really? The critics liked it?
Yeah.
What the fuck have they been smoking, man? This is where they recognize the zeitgeist, right?
Yeah.
And they're just too fucking bullshit to, like, give their... Nobody that likes a movie about a Syrian woman drowning her child is going to like Escape from New York. It's ridiculous.
You'd never know that. That same woman chose...
Okay, guys.
She chose Top Gun Maverick as the best movie of the year.
This is the thing. I'm just going to tell you this. In an earlier episode, I don't remember when, I'll try and find it, but Pat read a top 10 list of top movies of the year. I think this was last year.
No, because it would have been January of last year. Maybe about this year. Time. December, January, when the end of year.
Right. And it was all like art house films. It was all like this ridiculous foreign film shit. And then it was like number 5 was a Syrian woman drowns her daughter, and then all the shit. And then number 1 was fucking Top Gun Maverick. And like there's a certain type of critic, right? So if I go to like England and I'm like, have you ever heard of Escape from New York? And they're like, no, but I love the movie about the Syrian woman drowning her child. I would be like, you know what?
They would say, no, but I love Top Gun Maverick. That's what they would say.
You know, I'm going to watch that tonight.
You're going to watch Top Gun Maverick?
I'm going to absolutely watch it tonight.
Yeah. I'll do you a favor. You watch Top Gun Maverick. I will watch Saltburn.
Tell me how Saltburn is. I bet it's great.
I don't believe you're going to watch Top Gun Maverick.
I am not, and I don't believe you're going to watch Saltburn.
No, because football's on.
Yeah, exactly. We're doing this podcast early so Mr. Pat can go watch the foosball.
Yes.
You realize it's the devil, right? Don't you? The devil.
Yeah, I'll watch that movie.
Watch Waterboy all day long.
I'll watch that all day long. Yeah.
All right.
Well,
ooh, can you give me the sexy one?
You want the sexy one? Hold on, I gotta find it. I hide that as much as I can.
Fantastic.
I'm not sure which I would prefer, to listen to that on loop or to drink more of this chunky drink.
I know. That is a bit of a competition, right?
Man. There. You know what I'm going to get next time?
What?
A Yoo-hoo.
You know what?
I might have to get a Yoo-hoo.
Get a Yoo-hoo. How much longer is it dry in January?
It's 10 more days.
10 more days, okay.
Yeah, we got more recordings to do.
So you have one more podcast proper, and then you can have a drink.
Sure. So, it's like you're doing a countdown for me.
I
It's like you feel bad for me. Oh, you're it's so sad.
I kind of do.
If they're listen, don't feel bad about not drinking alcohol. I feel bad about drinking this garbage.
That's what I was about to say. I don't feel bad about you not drinking alcohol, but you're drinking that aloe vera shit. Oh my god!
It's a Babida de Sabilla, sabor e mango.
Nicely done.
Oh, Lord. All right, well, the dame has spoken, so it is time for us to wrap it up.
Your accent needs to work, man.
It definitely does. Yes. All right. Well, yes. So we need to wrap this up.
Yeah.
As always, I've been Patrick.
And I've been Andy.
Doink to doink. What's that?
Did you stop it?
No.
Okay. That's the Korean Heart.
Oh. Is it?
Yeah, we were watching this Korean K-drama. And my son is huge into K-pop. And, like...
They do Korean hearts?
You know, people do the heart. This is the Korean heart. So...
Well, that makes more sense. Like, this is the actual shape of a heart.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. The heart is really a fist. But when you do this, like, I love you, like, you don't get the same response.
I love you so much.
Yeah, I love you with 2 hearts. I'm going to kick your ass.
I can't believe this. I can't believe that drink was that bad. Holy shnikes.
Man.
You guys are weird.